Hello everyone, and welcome to a Let's Play of Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. This is Dr. McMean, and today we are going to be playing Billings' Learned Hand, a Demonspawn hunter. Billings' Learned Hand is one of my favorite case law writers. We're going to be going with a bow. It's not quite as strong as the crossbow, but arrows are much more common than bolts are, especially in the early levels of the dungeon. And if you're a hunter without ammunition, you're not in a good place. Alright, so we're going to go to the skill screen by pressing M, and then we're going to press the forward slash key. That's the one right by the shift that, would be a question mark if you press shift. And that changes this from automatic skill assignment to manual skill assignment. Dungeon Crawl is a game about micromanagement a lot of the time. You have to be very careful with your movements. You have to be very careful with your skill points. Planning ahead is heavily rewarded, and by rewarded I mean you may live a little bit longer. So we're going to turn off stealth and fighting and dodging. The most important thing in the early game is to get your damage built up, and in that case it's going to be us training our bows skill. As you can see, we have a little bit of fighting and a little bit of dodging, and a tiny bit of stealth. Those are skills we can think about focusing later. Another thing I'm going to do is make sure that my short sword and my bow, are B and A, and the reason why that's important for a hunter especially is because if you press the apostrophe key, like so, you will switch back and forth between the items that are labeled A and B in your inventory. And for a hunter who is going to have to switch back and forth quite frequently, it's nice to have that right at hand. Now, when I am moving around this rapidly, what I'm doing is I'm pressing the auto explore key. That's by default is O. I have it keybound to T so that I can just hit it with my left hand and have my right hand on the 10 keypad, just for ease of movement. Okay, so this is an interesting situation. In Crawl, it pays to be really cautious, and this is a hobgoblin. As you can see, I've been going through shooting arrows at things, and by and large, they're dying pretty quickly. This hobgoblin, though, he's at half health, and he's about to get close enough to attack me. I have, 15 health, which is, I'm pretty sure that's average for the large races. Some species have reduced hit points to make up for their speed, or increased hit points to make up for their size, for example, with Spriggans and Ogres, respectively. So this Hobgoblin is about to get to me. I have plenty of health, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to my short sword, which takes a half a turn. It's a very important number to remember, because that's about, well, every time you take a step as a Demonspawn, you have normal speed, so that's 1 turn per step. And we'll get more into the parsing of the turns later. So here I switch to my short sword, and I'm going to press the tab key, which is very much your friend in this game. What tab does is it automatically attacks the closest enemy to you. And so you can just press it as many times as you want, and then when you're done, if there isn't anything in view for you to attack, you'll stop attacking, and so you won't waste time. You won't take too many turns, swinging at nothing if you're using control in a direction, or accidentally run past your defeated foe if you're using the movement keys to attack, which are habits that you really should get out of. The control direction is fine. It just makes you swing your weapon like this without moving. Now, the reason why I was okay with doing that with this ball python over here asleep is because the small amount of sound that I made by swinging my weapon, and just me being within line of sight of the ball python, was enough to wake it up eventually. And that way it knows I'm here and comes to me instead of me running into the darkness. And see, I was not paying attention earlier, and I did not re-equip my bow. You always want to have your bow equipped as a hunter when you're exploring, because you're usually not going to end up right next to something if you're being careful. And we're going to butcher the corpse with C. It's too early for us to get hungry. You generally, as a hunter, you wouldn't get hungry on the first level of the dungeon unless you get in a lot of really tough fights and spend a lot of time resting. Okay, we just got to level 2, and this is why Demonspawn are fantastic. They get mutations that are always good, which is a rare thing for mutations in this game. There's only one other source of guaranteed beneficial mutation, and that's the beneficial mutation potion, which is extremely rare. But Demonspawn get cool mutations. They get a total of 15 over the course of their 27 levels. It's guaranteed that you will have all 15 slots by level 27, but bunch of mutations really early, really quickly, and you're really strong early game, and then you get nothing throughout the entire mid game, and you're finally at level 20, getting the second level of your claws, for example. And those are the really rough games. But usually you get a mutation every other level, or thereabouts. So we just got our scales, the first slot of our scales. Rough black scales are all right. They give you a decent amount of armor class, and I'm going to pause the video for when you're playing Dungeon Crawl, especially if you are new to the game.